I am Allison, a librarian with the Spokane County Library District. I am here to share with you how to make cinnamon spice ornaments, a wonderfully fragrant craft. So let's go over the tools we'll need. We will need a bowl, some measuring cups and a tablespoon, a rolling pin, some utensils such as a straw, a chopstick, or a skewer, something to make a hole in your ornament or shape so that we can string a ribbon through it to hang it up. Today I'm also going to be using some wax paper. That is optional, it's just something that I find helps me contain my mess. So I'll be using that today. Also, if you registered for our cinnamon spice ornament program, you would have gotten a supply bag, which would have included cinnamon, some white glue, applesauce, as well as a length of ribbon, a cookie cutter, and some glitter glue to decorate our ornaments after they've dried. So that's all we need to do the cinnamon spice ornaments. So let's get started. We're going to start with our bowl, and I am going to measure out 1 cup of cinnamon, careful not to get the cinnamon everywhere. It's usually what I do. So 1 cup of cinnamon into our bowl. Then we want 2 tablespoons of white glue. Get it out of my container here. Okay. There we go. Most of that out of there. Okay. Next, we are going to add our applesauce. Now, the recipe calls for 3/4 of a cup of applesauce. You want to add your applesauce slowly though, because if you add too much, you can't take it away. And if your dough gets too moist, when you try to cut out your ornaments with a cookie cutter, or if you're doing your own unique shape, they'll have a harder time staying together because it's a little too moist. But if it does get a little too moist, all you need to do is add some more spices like cinnamon to it to help dry it up. Okay. Open up my other applesauce here. Perfect. So, you can use a spoon, but I always end up using my hands, so I'm just going to start with my hands. I want to make sure all of the cinnamon is incorporated with the applesauce and the glue. We don't want any powder left. We want it to be a dough consistency. We want it to feel kind of like Play-Doh. We want it to be somewhat stiff so that when we go to cut out our shapes, they stay together. But we want it moist enough that the dough has a nice Play-Doh-like consistency. So keep kneading it. It's a little harder with a spoon. I find I always end up using my hands. So if you wanted to add a little bit more fragrance to your ornaments, you can add a tablespoon or so of other spices, such as cloves or nutmeg or allspice, or even pumpkin pie spice. It gives a little bit added fragrance to your ornaments, which I really like. Okay, I think I've got pretty good consistency going here. I'm going to move the bowl. And we're just going to knead this a little bit, make sure everything is sticking together. I've got, losing some crumbles there. nice consistency. Okay, I think we're ready to roll it out. I'm gonna put there, gonna flatten it just a bit. Hands are all dirty now. So what I do is I put another piece of wax paper over the top. I find that's easier for me to roll it out. So when you're rolling it out, you want to make sure it stays pretty thick. You want to keep it 1/4 of an inch or thicker. If you get any thinner, once they're dried, they're a little too brittle. So keep it at 1/4 of an inch or thicker. Keep in mind also that the thicker they are, the longer it will take them to dry out. So if you prefer something a little thicker and sturdier than 1/4 of an inch, just keep in mind, they'll take a little bit longer. Okay. I think we've got pretty good thickness going there. Okay, so now I'm going to use one of our cookie cutters, which you got one in your supply bag. You can also use your own cookie cutters, or you can make your own unique shape. It's your chance to be creative if you want to. So we're going to cut out some figures here with my little gingerbread man cookie cutter. Now they do look like cookies, but don't eat them. They have glue in them. No, don't eat them. They look good and they smell good, but they're not edible. Okay, so we've got little figures here. Okay, so this is just like as if you were making cookies. You can cut out as many as you can, and then you can knead the excess and roll it out again and do more. Use up as much of the dough as you like. So here, our little guy here. Your next step is going to be using one of your tools, whether you have a straw or a chopstick. You want to make a hole so that once he's dry, you will be able to thread a ribbon through it and hang him up. I'm using a straw. It's kind of a big straw. You might want to use a smaller one. You can also use like a little chopstick to poke a little hole. Depends on how big your ribbon is. Okay, so now they're ready to be dried. So there's two ways you can dry them. You can leave them out on a surface and let them air dry for 2 to 3 days, flipping them occasionally so they dry evenly. Another way, if you're impatient like me, I usually put them in the oven for a low degree at about 200 degrees for 2 to 3 hours, flipping them while they're in the oven occasionally so that, again, they dry evenly. And then they're nice and hard and they smell really good. So let me show you some finished ones that I did before. So here's some look at a finished product that I did earlier. They smell really good and they're decorated, so you want to make sure they're completely dry before you put any glitter glue, or you could use any other fun stuff you have at home to decorate them. So that is how you make a cinnamon spice ornament. Of course, they make great ornaments. They make great stocking stuffers or even a tag for a present. So I hope you have fun creating, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!